You're traded, you're traded, you're traded, and you're traded. Can I get traded? Old news, but since it technically fits in with the description, Trae Young got traded to the Washington Wizards in exchange for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. Trae hasn't played a game for Washington yet as he's having knee and quad problems, and I'm sure that being in Washington prolongs his recovery time. McCollum has been balling out in Atlanta lately as they've won 5 of their last 7. He didn't make a good first impression though, and Kispert has been a solid role player. Overall, Washington didn't lose anything here. If Trae works out in Washington, that's good. If not, they don't have to give him a contract. Atlanta probably should have gotten picks for this trade, but also Trae didn't seem like he was going to fit well into this team for the future, and they no longer have to pay him. Overall, not a terrible deal for either team. Our next fun deal wouldn't be until February 1st in a 3-team deal where the Cavaliers got Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, and Emmanuel Miller. The Bulls received Dario Saric and 2 second-round picks, and the Kings got DeAndre Hunter. First off, Sacramento, come here. This is all you got for Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder. Now, look, no disrespect to DeAndre Hunter, he's a decent role player. It's just that you traded for a decent role player that costed 2 better role players and got nothing else back. This trade was a massive win for Cleveland. Keon is a good two-way player, and Dennis is a great point guard to bring in from off the bench. Also, good job to Chicago. I know Dario Saric basically just eats money, but you made more moves and also got the 2 second-rounders off of it. In Sacramento, I have one more thing for you too. The next trade is also a 3-team deal. Detroit receiving Kevin Huerter, Dario Saric, and a first-round protected swap for this year's upcoming draft. Chicago gets Jaden Ivey, and Minnesota gets straight cash. See, Sacramento? This is how you don't make a flat-out bad trade. For Detroit, this was a good deal. Huerter is a good scorer and solid enough defender that I feel like he can fit right into the culture Detroit has been building over the past 2 years. Now, Huerter hasn't been shooting the 3-ball well this year, but if I'm Detroit, I'm willing to bet that a change of scenery where Cade Cunningham is the point guard can get Kevin back to his career 37% 3-point mark, something that the team would benefit from massively. Yes, Saric eats money, but they got some potential draft compensation for it. With all the injuries, it made sense for Detroit to move off of Ivey, but it also makes sense for a team like Chicago to buy low on a guy like Ivey and hope to turn him into something else. And look, I know Conley isn't a productive basketball player anymore, but gosh dang, Minnesota, that is a thin point guard room. Next, oh boy, it's a juicy one. Triple J, Jock Lawndale, John Conchar, and Vince Williams Jr. to Utah in exchange for Walter Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, George Niang, and 3 first-round picks. Memphis went from to the medieval dark ages in about 3 years. They had a seriously bright future, but injuries and trying to go from riches to rags costed them that. Memphis got some young talent in the deal that could be something, and these first rounders have potential, but they're not top of the line either. Now, I love this deal for Utah. They are straight cooking. Like, this is a 16-35 team this year, but could legitimately be a top seed next year. This team has a lot of young talent, headlined by Keontae George, who is absolutely balling out this year. I mean, the rim protection of Jaren Jackson and Walker Kessler, and then you throw in a 7-foot sniper on top of all that. And Utah being this bad is to their advantage, having great odds at getting a top pick in this year's draft. Don't be shocked if Utah is firing on all cylinders this time next year. Oh hey, Chicago's back, trading Nikola Vucevic to Boston for Anthony Simons. Now, the Chicago guards may or may not be cooking, but you know, they're trying their best, so let's not be too harsh. Seriously though, half your roster is guards, you might want to do something about that. I like Vooch to Boston. Now, pat on the back to Joe Mazzulla and Boston's big this year because you guys have totally surpassed expectations. But I'm sure having Vucevic starting is preferred to Keita. And if this experiment with Vooch works out, you can bring him back next season with a healthy Tatum. If it doesn't, you can move on. Nothing really lost here. And Chicago, I believe in you that you have some semblance of a plan. The next one came out of left field. James Harden seemed happy in LA. The Clippers were winning. Kawhi got his all-star selection. The vibes were good. And then this man decided he wanted out. Now, I saw a theory from Andrew Feinschel that maybe Harden knows Kawhi is getting suspended, and honestly, that is one of the only things that would make sense here. Harden is now on to his 6th team, and his tenure with the other 5 have all ended in a trade. 2 because of contract disputes, 2 because he got sick of the organization, and 1 for a reason to be determined. In regard to the actual trade, I like it for both teams. For the Clippers, they flipped the 36-year-old point guard with great scoring and playmaking ability that's not a great defender for a 26-year-old point guard with great scoring and playmaking ability that's also not a good defender. Of course, it isn't that simple. I feel like Garland's reputation has taken a big hit lately because he has regressed in recent years and is super injury prone. And I think those critiques are actually kind of valid, but I also think betting on a 26-year-old to remain healthy and get back to the level he was at just a year ago is a wise bet. Harden, meanwhile, adds a little bit more size to Cleveland to fit along Mitchell. I imagine Harden will take more of a role he had in Philadelphia or his first season with the Clippers, where he focuses more on facilitation than scoring. And he also gives his team a lot of playoff experience. Now, James Harden doesn't have any grace left for his playoff failures. He's a playoff dropper for his career, and that won't change. He can, however, have a good playoff run, and having a young team with several good players could help that. Look, I'm not trusting James Harden in a Game 7 either, but nobody is going to want to see this backcourt of Harden and Mitchell come playoff time. Now, I was figuring that was going to be the biggest trade of the deadline, and then Dallas decided they wanted that crown 2 years in a row. Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum shift off to the cellar of Washington for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Ranham, Marvin Bagley III, 2 firsts, and 3 seconds. Now, I made a video about this yesterday, and for the most part, it was just unscripted rambling. They sent this man to purgatory. Now, after allowing this trade to stew in my brain for a little bit, I like this trade for Washington. Still, first and foremost, thank you for freeing Chris Middleton. Now, what I didn't realize when I first saw this trade is that these picks that the Mavs got really aren't that good. It's the Thunder's pick this year and a top 20 protected Warriors pick for 2030. Not exactly great returns. Now, of course, AD's value is at an all-time low because he's never been this injury prone, but still. And it's not even like the Wizards are giving up anything significant here. Yeah, they give up some young pieces. Marvin Bagley's having a decent year, but Middleton has been declining the past few years and is on one of the worst contracts in the league right now. Now, it doesn't matter this year because 1, the Wizards want the tank to get a high pick, and 2, Trae and AD are both hurt, but this duo is actually pretty nice. The best player Trae has ever played with, and that could work well together. And this team also has some nice pieces around this duo. Maybe Washington can actually do something next year. I mean, imagine they got the first pick and drafted AJ Demancia. Wouldn't that be crazy? I mean, when was the last time we saw a highly touted 6'9" wing get drafted number 1 overall to a team with an undersized, offensively oriented guard and Anthony Davis? Someone better warn Washington. Jared McCain to the Thunder for some picks that aren't really worth a whole lot. You can't keep getting away with it! And the guards of Chicago are back, sending Kobe White and Mike Conley's body to Charlotte for Ousmane Dieng and Colin Sexton. Oh, and OKC got Mason Plumlee and then they waived him. The Hornets are absolutely balling out right now. 7 wins straight. You want to take a guess where they are in the standings? 11th. That's how bad they have been the rest of the season. Kobe is a good player and he's been in trade discussions for a while, so it's nice to finally see him get a change of scenery. Hopefully he can continue to help this team turn around as they make a playoff push. And hey, right now Charlotte, you're on the right path to escaping NBA purgatory. Just like that, the Kaminga trade saga is over as he and Buddy Hield are sent to Atlanta in exchange for Porzingis. Poor Jimmy. First he suffers a serious injury and then he loses his best friend. I really don't like this trade for either team. For Golden State, Porzingis does fit really well with this system, being that he is a big dick and space the floor and absolutely nobody can contest him, but the injury history, man, it's too much to ignore. He's a free agent after this season, and that is a positive if the trade just totally fails. For Atlanta, Hield has regressed and is very inconsistent, and I just have this strange feeling that Kaminga isn't going to find the role he wants with this team and might make another stir about it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like this trade wasn't great for either side, and there may have been better offers out there for the respective pieces. Zubats and Kobe Brown got sent to Indiana in exchange for Benedict Mathurin, Isaiah Jackson, a heavily protected first rounder for this year, a future first rounder, and another second rounder. It's like the Clippers only turned the ship around in order to get that guy to eat that piece of paper. The writing on the wall was getting increasingly clearer that Mathurin was going to get traded, and I think him and Garland going to the Clippers highlights a shift in their direction. Maybe a Kawhi-less shift. As for Zubats, he just got sent to an awful destination, but I imagine next year with the return to Halliburton, this will look like a good deal for Indiana, though Zubats will not fit as well as Turner did. During the offseason, Chris Paul signed with the team that he thought was home because he was ready to hang it up. He was going to have a retirement tour, appreciating one of the most talented point guards the game has ever seen. And the Clippers said, "Nah man, screw you, stay at home." So Chris patiently waited at home, probably questioning his decision to ever sign back with this awful franchise, and then he gets a call. It's Steve Ballmer. Oh boy, Chris, does he want you, the franchise GOAT, to return to the team and continue to instill your expert leadership abilities? Nope, he's deporting you to Canada. Pack your bags, your biplane leaves in 15 minutes. Now, Chris actually doesn't have to show up to Toronto because they are either A, waiving him, or B, trading him where he will then get waived. All I can say is that this is truly sad that this is the way CP3's career is going to end. But apart from that, I think that's just about every notable trade that happened at this year's deadline. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed...
Whoa, buddy. You forgot about the Tyus Jones trade.
The Tyus Jones trade. Are you serious?
Man, I'm his biggest fan. Actually, I think you forgot a couple trades.
Okay, you're right on this one. Atlanta sent Vich Krejci to the Blazers in exchange for Duop Reith in 2 seconds. The Chris Paul trade included Usai Abashi, a second-round pick, and cash to Brooklyn, while the Clippers got the rights to Vanya Marinkovic. The Lonzo Ball trade included 2 second-round picks to Utah and Atlanta, getting Jack Landale. Orlando got some cash from Charlotte for Tyus Jones in 2 seconds. Trae, Jackson Davis got deported for a second-rounder. New York swapped Gershon Yabusele for Dalen Terry. The Lakers sent Gabe Vincent in a second-rounder to Atlanta for Luke Kennard. Utah got Chris Boucher and a second-round from Boston. The Knicks obtained certified dog Jose Alvarado in exchange for Dalen Terry, a second-rounder and some cash. Minnesota sent Rob Dillingham, Leonard Miller, and 4 second-rounders to Chicago in exchange for Ayo Dosunmu and Julian Phillips. Denver sent a second to Brooklyn for Hunter Tyson and another second. Eric Gordon and a second are going to Philadelphia. Tyus Jones is back, getting sent to Dallas for Malachi Branham. And lastly, a 3-team deal that sees Milwaukee getting Nigel Hayes-Davis and Ousmane Dieng, Phoenix getting Cole Anthony and Amir Coffey, and Chicago getting Nick Richards. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing, and also checking out this video where I not only reflect on the Luka Doncic trade to LA, but also talk about an overblown narrative that has haunted Luka. Have a great day, everybody.